Time now to take a look at what's grabbing headlines around the world. Florence Villeminot joins me. Lots of papers float talking about these Syria peace talks, which have now kicked off in the Kazakh capital.
That's right. And as you can imagine, these talks are getting a lot of attention in the Russian media. Russia Today, for instance, picks up on one detail that's getting a lot of attention, and that's the fact that the U.S. Is not sending a special delegation to these talks in Astana, officially because of the change of power that's happening over in Washington. Instead, the U.S. is going to be represented by its ambassador to Kazakhstan. The same goes for France and Great Britain. And Libération says this really leaves carte blanche to Russia. Now, officially, of course, these talks are being brokered by Russia, Iran, and Turkey. But you can see here Libération's take on things. Actually, Russia is redrawing its world in Astana. It's really the one pulling all the strings here.
Well, look, tensions are still rife. Many people wondering whether the two parties are going to actually find something in common.
Absolutely. What in the world could they have in common? Well, let's take a look at another Russian media website. This is Sputnik that's saying actually it could be a common enemy that could be the source of an agreement here, fighting the Islamic State group, essentially. According to Sputnik, once again, a Russian website, the opposition has no real solid support on the ground, and so that's why they could try to reach an agreement with the Syrian regime. Now, regardless of what common interests they have, an agreement will be met. And this is according to the Lebanese paper Al Akhbar. Why is that? Well, according to this article, it's because Moscow, Tehran, and Ankara have already agreed that, essentially these negotiations are going to reach some sort of a deal. Now, according to Al Akhbar, it's because these three countries are eager to show that they're the ones that are holding the keys to the future of Syria.
All right, the French Catholic paper La Croix is taking a completely different angle. They're asking everyday Syrians what they want to come from the talks.
That's right. Now, this, of course, comes just as we're about to mark the 6 years of the beginning of the conflict there. More than 300,000 people have been killed in almost 6 years of conflict. So you can see what is the road towards peace. So La Croix asks for Syrians, everyday Syrians, what their hopes and desires are for the future of their country. Well, it's not a very positive outlook. It's quite bleak for many of these Syrians.
All right, Flo, let's move stateside. Papers there focusing on Donald Trump and what he's been able to achieve in the first weekend as president. Not a long time.
Not a long time, just a couple days. And it's already been a rocky start, according to the New York Times. Now, traditionally, a new president tries to take advantage of the first days of his administration when he's usually at the maximum of his leverage. But according to the New York Times, Trump threw that opportunity aside by essentially picking a fight with the media over several things. First of all, the crowd sizes at the inauguration, and also Trump blamed the media for his rocky relationship with intelligence agencies. Now, what's interesting is the New York Times reports that this is seen as a lack of discipline that has even troubled some senior members within his circle.
Right, well, the new president and the White House press secretary claim that Friday's inauguration drew, quote, the largest audience ever. But there's been some other evidence to the contrary of that.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is the media, well, some media outlets have gone so far as to just call Trump a liar. You can see here The Independent talking about 2 pictures that prove that Donald Trump is lying about how many people attended his inauguration. Keep in mind, this is President Trump. It's very unusual to see this kind of language coming out of the media. So they're showing these 2 photos. On the left there, you can see Trump's inauguration. And on the right, you can see Obama's first swearing-in ceremony in 2009. Now, the Daily Beast is another media outlet that's calling Trump a liar. You can see Trump administration starts with a big lie over a small thing. And the Daily Beast says it's kind of ridiculous for the president to be wasting his time for talking about something so trivial, in a way, about how many people attended his inauguration. Can the marriage between Trump and the press be saved? Well, the Daily Beast doesn't have a lot of hope. Now, the man you can see there is Sean Spencer. He's also in the spotlight in an article in the Washington Post that says, what we're seeing here is a major change. The traditional way of reporting on a president is dead. That's why you're seeing this language, calling the president a liar. And it's the press secretary that killed it, according to the Washington Post.
All right, well, crowd size experts are saying that the audience was, in fact, far less than the size of the following day's Women's March.
That's right. Now, tallies are still being finalized, but that worldwide march is really getting a lot of attention. Check it out. It's still on the front page of China Daily here today. The New York Times has a great photo gallery of these protests that took place, remember, across the world, hundreds of cities around the world. You can see some of them here. This is Washington, for instance. You'll see Paris, New York, etc. Now, experts say that more than 2 million people protested around the world. This really blew expected attendance numbers out of the water. The Daily Beast says, look, it was huge, it was emotional, but it's hard not to wonder where all these people were in November. Where were they on Election Day? And what are they going to do next? That's the real question.
That's a good question, a question that Trump himself had asked, actually.
That's right. What is next for the movement? Well, you can read more about that in USA Today as well, that says it's a historic march. What's next? Can this momentum last? Well, civil rights organizers are scrambling to harness the energy that we saw across the world on Saturday. There's an interesting Facebook page for the group that was behind the Washington March. You can see they're trying to follow up on that. 10 actions for the first 100 days. Every 10 days, we'll be taking action on an issue we care about. Starting today, their first action is to send postcards to your senator telling them what you care about.
OK, Flo, thank you very much for keeping us up to date with the international papers. We're going to take a short break, but we'll have more headlines on the other side. Do stay tuned.